Ladies and gentlemen, I wish you all a happy new year and wholeheartedly welcome you to this video. In this video, I'll be talking about why I believe the 2020s will be one of the greatest 10-year spans we will have witnessed in the NBA. So, without wasting much more time, let's get into it. One of the obvious reasons as to why the 2020s are going to be great is because of the young and upcoming stars in this league, such as the Greek Freak, Luka Doncic, Joel Embiid, Karl-Anthony Towns, Jason Tatum, Donovan Mitchell, Brandon Ingram, Trae Young, Kyle Kuzma, and many, many more. Some that aren't even in the league yet. But what many people seem to forget is that our current older superstars like LeBron, Steph, Westbrook, KD and Harden still have, I guess, a minimum of 4 years left as stars. Then, if you look at the other superstars, you'll realize that most of them aren't even 30 yet. For example, Kawhi is 28, Paul George and Damian Lillard are both 29, Giannis is still 25, Kyrie is 27, AD is 26. So the 2020s won't just be filled with new superstars, but rather the better half of the decade will still be dominated by the superstars or stars that we have right now. Sure, guys like Giannis-Luka and quite possibly Zion will eventually take over and be the new faces of the league, but up until about 2025, Kawhi, AD, Joel Embiid, Harden and Steph will still be on the good side of their careers. And speaking of new faces of the league, almost everyone can agree that Giannis and Luka, barring any significant injuries, will most likely be the new faces of the league. And this will probably be a rather good storyline to follow, since both of them are from Europe and have similar yet different playstyles. Both of them are these hybrid playmakers, a breed of players that don't necessarily fit into a true position like a point guard for example, and both show attributes and traits of several positions. For instance, their playmaking abilities of a point guard, the scoring of a small forward or shooting guard. Then Giannis has the size of a big and Luka has the body of a small forward, in addition to his rather good shooting. But the main difference is that Giannis uses his size and athleticism, whereby Luka uses his craftiness and some would say lack of athleticism to score, play make or set up teammates. Like I mentioned before, both of these players are from Europe, so if it hasn't already, it will change how the NBA community in general thinks of players coming into the league from Europe and how Europe will prepare their players for the NBA. In addition to that, as of right now, Giannis and Luka are in opposing conferences, so if that stays the way it is, and both of them live up to their expectations of getting several rings, then we hopefully get to see them face off on the biggest stage a couple of times. Who knows, this might even turn into a Bucks-Mavs rivalry. Some have even said that the battle between Giannis and Luka will be like the rivalry between Magic and Bird. And that would be a rivalry we will surely see throughout the entire span of a decade, since Giannis is, like I said, 25 and Luka is 20. If I had to guess who will accomplish more, I'd say that in the first 5 years, Giannis will do that because he's closer to his prime, has more playoff experience, has the better team around him, and just seems about ready. I'd say that the other half of the decade though will be Luka's, because by that point he should have a solid team around him if the Mavericks know what they're doing, and more playoff experience. I also think that by 2025 Luka will be ready to lead his own team to a championship. Now, whilst talking about the new face or faces of the league, I didn't really mention one guy, that is Zion Williamson. And the reason for that is I think he could be the biggest what if of the decade, like Derrick Rose. Zion has all this hype around him and, the expectation of becoming a superstar, but the biggest concern for all the people that are a bit skeptic about him is injury. Zion hasn't played a single regular season game yet due to his knee injury, and he might come back and ball out for a couple of seasons and then catch an injury bug like Derrick Rose, because obviously the biggest worry about Zion is injury. He might not even have a couple of good years and immediately face injury and be forced out of the league like Greg Oden. However, if he doesn't get injured, his upside is literally uncharted, as we haven't really seen someone that is that big and that athletic. So let's just hope he doesn't get injured and balls out, because if he does, he will put on a show for us. Obviously, we can't really tell how good he'll be in the league when it comes to winning and leading his own team, but we sure as hell know that he can dunk the ball. And if Zion continues to get the hype that he has going into the 2020s, and he by any chance decides to participate in the dunk contest with Aaron Gordon, Zach LaVine, Miles Bridges and Donovan Mitchell, then that alone would resurrect the All-Star weekend. Another reason why the 2020s will be great is because we will see all the stars and superstars I mentioned retire, at least most of them. LeBron might play till he's like 50. Now, jokes aside, we will see LeBron calling it quits and giving the reins to someone else, maybe his own son Bronny. And apart from LeBron, we will also see guys like Steph, Harden, Kawhi, Kyrie, KD and Westbrook all retire. And all of them, excluding Kyrie and Kawhi, will get their jerseys retired somewhere. Heck, Kyrie might even get his retired in Cleveland, Brooklyn or wherever he decides to play next. Kawhi might get his retired in Toronto, we'll see. And speaking of LeBron and Bronny, LeBron has said on several occasions that he wants to play until his son Bronny joins the league. If my math is correct, then Bronny will have completed his first year of college in 2024, and the quickest way to join the league would be to be the one and done. If he's a one and done, he'd enter the 2024 NBA draft and play in the 2024-25 NBA season. That's in 5 years. Entering that season, LeBron would be 39, turning 40 in December. So there is a fair enough chance that this actually happens. And yeah, of course, LeBron won't be an MVP candidate by that point. He won't be a superstar. He might, dare I say, be washed when he's 40. And I think it's plausible to say that that might be LeBron's last season. And if Bronny balls out like his father did when he entered the league, we could even see them both in the All-Star game going at it. Sure, LeBron will probably not play like an All-Star when he's 40 years old, but considering that that would be possibly his last season, I guess that he'd get either some sympathy votes, like Kobe Bryant did for example, or he would be an honorable guest like Dirk Nowitzki and Dwayne Wade were last year. So if he and Bronny can actually go at it in the All-Star game, then yeah, that will be something nice to watch. It will be 2025, we're watching the All-Star weekend if it hasn't changed by that point. The All-Star game is on and we see Bronny and LeBron on opposing teams going at it. They're guarding each other, having fun. Well, we might even see one of them dunk the other. So the last reason why I think the 2020s will be great is because, like I said earlier, LeBron will retire. That means he can't accomplish anything anymore, so we can look at his whole body of work, which means that the GOAT debate will get even more heated. And honestly, I think this isn't particularly hard to understand, but LeBron will most likely be called the GOAT at the end of the decade, just because more people will have watched LeBron by that point than they watched MJ. It's hard to defend someone when all your knowledge of him is basically passed down. You didn't watch him yourself. LeBron will have more fans by that point, more people to defend his legacy and quite possibly diminish MJ's. So yeah, if you think that MJ is the GOAT, then I'm pretty much giving you roughly a 10-year heads up to make your case on that. And if you can't make it yourself, then you better pay someone big money to do it. Because trust me, it won't be easy in the year 2027.